Hey guys, how are you all today? Welcome to my channel. I hope you guys are doing well today. I just want to talk about Nadal's future when he comes back from injury in next year in 2022 and beyond until sort of the end of his career, and what are his prospects? Um, what are Nadal's prospects to win a Grand Slam? Or yeah, Masters 1000, or where is he possibly going to go? So I just wanted to get into that. Nadal's been injured. I posted the picture on my video, I think we call it the thumbnail, where Nadal was winning the French Open in 2020. Now, at that point, things looked wonderful for Rafa. He had 20 Grand Slams. He was tied with Federer. He's a year younger than now. Federer wasn't going to compete with him with injuries and being 5 years older when he'd already caught up. And then Djokovic, the other threat, was now 3 behind, 20-17. And at the time, like, firstly, you're 3 ahead of your opponent, Djokovic. Secondly, you've killed him in straight sets. He killed him in that match, 6-love, 6-2, 7-5. So how are you going to feel a threat from someone who, one, you've now put 3 Grand Slams behind you, two, you've completely embarrassed them. So you show that you're out of your league and it's not even a competition. So how are you going to think that guy's going to come back when you've got 20 slams, the other guy's got 17, and then Roger being 5 years older? How's he going to compete? So things looked amazing at that time for Rafa for GOAT status. Fast forward this year, we've seen an injury-plagued year in 2021 for Nadal. And what's happened was the French Open, the Australian Open, he had a back injury. I believe he was still bothered by the foot. In addition, couldn't train, couldn't play a warm-up tournament, anything like that. Played with pain. Then in the French Open, he had that's the last match before he went on a 2-month break. So he didn't get it on the break. He was playing through pain as much as he could because the French Open's his best shot. And even injured, he can still get to a decent level. So yeah, he was giving that a try. But yeah, like when you're in a situation, Nadal, Djokovic, Clay, no easy points. Djokovic's defense is great. He runs down everything. Same with Nadal. Both of them don't make a lot of errors in the rallies. So these long, grueling rallies on clay where it's hard to end the point because both guys are fast with great defense and the court is very slow. Physically, the movement to be involved in that match in best of 5, you may get away with it against someone else, but a Nadal, Djokovic, clay, no easy points, slow court, hard to end points. Both guys not making errors, both guys great defense, running everything down. In that situation, you'll be exposed for the injury. And you're either going to do a lot of running, it's going to be hours of rallies and running down balls and excruciating, physical, tiring rallies. And if you've got any problem with your foot, you just won't be able to do it effectively enough and you'll be exposed. So then we saw that. So then, like I said, we've got the injury affecting the Australian Open, the French Open. Then Wimbledon and the US Open, you couldn't play at all due to the injury. So then this 20-17 lead. Now what we've seen in 2017, Nadal got 2 slams, Djokovic got none. 2018, Djokovic got 2 slams, Nadal 1. 2019, they got 2 each. 2020, they got 1 each. And the only Grand Slam since the French Open 2018 that wasn't won by Nadal or Djokovic was the US Open in 2020 prior to this year. And that was only because Federer and Nadal were not there. And Djokovic hit the ball girl and got disqualified. So the big three hadn't broken through. Murray wasn't there anymore. Federer wasn't there. Djokovic and Nadal were winning everything, right? So what's happened is if two guys have won everything other than that 2020 US Open when neither of them were really there, um, what's going to happen if one of them disappears for a year injured? If they're winning all the Grand Slams except for that one freak circumstance, well, they should be getting about two each if they're healthy. But if one guy disappears, right, then whether it's Djokovic or Nadal, the other guy now has a chance to get all four because the younger generation haven't broken through yet at that point, right? So, and we're talking 3 years, 2018, 2021, every Grand Slam, Nadal and Djokovic have been both there. One of them have won. So then if you remove of the two contenders, one of them, now there's only one contender. And then that's what we've seen. So we've seen, due to Nadal's injury, Djokovic's biggest rival not there. And we've seen Djokovic have a chance to not split Grand Slams, two each or one each or whatever it's going to be, or 3-1 one way or the other. No, Djokovic to say the only guys that are going to, Nadal's injured, so the only guys that's not going to be there are going to be guys that have never won. My biggest rival's gone. So I'm favourite in all four now. And if I'm playing Nadal, he's injured, so I'm still favourite against him on clay. So now, because of this injury, Djokovic has had this chance to be favourite in all four Grand Slams 1 year and totally change this 20-17 gap. He had the chance to win all four due to that, because like I said before, it was all Grand Slams for 3 years shared by two guys. So now one of the two are gone. So one of the other one, Djokovic, has a chance to win all four, right? So that's what we've seen. And the favourite, and it's not him, Nadal, winning everything, the next gen not taking over. It would be Djokovic winning everything. So he's had a chance to close the gap and even overtake because of Nadal's injury status, right? So what we saw is, as expected, Djokovic taking advantage. His biggest rival's not there, the guy he's sharing all the Grand Slams, getting the Australian Open, getting the French Open, getting Wimbledon. And then it didn't become about the fact that like his greatest rival Nadal is now gone and he's got no problems with the next generation. It's a mental thing about winning the whole four Grand Slams. And then eventually the next gen is now starting to break through. So then that dynamic of just Nadal and Djokovic winning everything's broken down. So Djokovic may have got the last year of that where he got all three slams and maybe would have got all four, like I said, taken advantage of Nadal not being there. But then the combination of the mental thing of trying to win all four in a year, and then now, finally, the next gen is breaking through, and Medvedev would have been ready to battle against Djokovic and make it a 50-50 game, even at Djokovic's best. So those two meant Djokovic couldn't get the four, but he had the chance to get the four. Instead, he got three and made the final of the fourth. So now this whole injury and Nadal and Djokovic sharing the Grand Slams and Nadal staying about 2 or 3 Grand Slams ahead has all changed with Nadal's injury, Djokovic's chance to get all four. Djokovic instead getting 3 of the 4. Now we're tied at 2020 in Grand Slam race. So now we're going to see Nadal coming back in 2022 healthy. We're going to see Djokovic should also be there healthy, and it's fair, right? I mean, Nadal probably wanted that free Grand Slam lead because he knows he has a history of injuries. So he could have that bad year. So he could give it to Djokovic and give Djokovic a year of domination where he wasn't there to challenge him, but to still say, before that year happened, I had a free Grand Slam lead. I've lost that, but I needed that buffer for the injury. So now I'm not going behind. You know what I mean? I'm staying free ahead. I know I'm probably going to get 1 year of injury the rest of my career. And when it doesn't, I've got the buffer for that so I can at least stay equal. I've got the buffer staying free ahead, waiting for the year of the injury. And then Djokovic doesn't get to take over because I've got that free Grand Slam buffer waiting for it. So now, even when that bad year happens, I'm still at least equal at worst case, which is what's happened. So now let's get into 2022. This is what I see for Nadal. I mean, people have been saying his body's going to break down. He won't be able to do it again. Every time he's came back from injury and been better and stronger than before. As he got older, we saw him not winning any Grand Slams in 2015, 2016. He was in his 30s. He was turning 31 for the French Open 2017. It looked like for a lot of people that was it, even when he was healthy in 2015. Maybe he still had some injuries. He wasn't looking good at all. He's 31 now. His game's too physical. But then what did we see? We see him, at least up until this period, producing the most Grand Slams for an over 30-year-old, winning the French Open and US Open in 2017, injured a lot in 2018, but still getting the French Open, and then 2019, the French and the US Open again. So that's from a place of an injured guy in his 30s with a physical game. Everybody writ him off, and he's done that. And then the 2020 French Open, also in addition to that. So the question is, now he's even older. He's going to be coming back at 35. I believe he'll be 36 at the French Open next year. So can he do it again? He did it so many times. Looked like he wouldn't do it again, but even in his 30s, he's been able to have that success, which I've spoken about. So what about now? Can he do it again? I say yes, and I just say, like, actually the last 2 years he hasn't played much. The biggest thing about Nadal compared to Djokovic is not the 11 months older, it's that he started playing earlier in his career. More matches, more Grand Slams, more wins before Djokovic was really good. And he's basically almost been around by Federer. So even though he's 1 year older, he had sort of 3 to 4 more years of sort of miles on his legs and playing than Djokovic did. So then that's the sort of youth advantage is. It's not so much the aging, but it's like the amount of tennis and the grind you play. So Nadal had sort of 3 or 4 more years of that physical to run him down than Djokovic did, even though being 11 months older, right? Um, so yeah, that's pretty much the situation. But now that Djokovic has played quite a bit over the last 2 years, and Nadal's just played a little bit, like he came back in 2020, won the French Open, played a few tournaments, played the Australian Open, the clay court season in 2021, just a handful of tournaments for a couple of years. Really have a chance to say now I haven't had miles on my legs since 2019. We're in 2022. So I think that sort of breakup in his career, all these matches, long, hard years, back to back to back, and then you feel like you're 45 and you're 35. I think now he could come back in 2022 much more fresh, much more refreshed, and to be able to extend his career later than he wouldn't have been able to do if it was long, hard years every year. So I think that's going to help him to extend his career. I mean, every time he's come back from an injury, he's been better. Like you saw, 2018, he won the US Open, and sorry, 2008. Yeah, he won Wimbledon, the French Open. Then 2009, he had a bad year. 2010, then he came back from injuries, had a great year. 2012 had a lot of injuries, came back. 2013 got 2 Grand Slams there. Then 2015, 2016 injured. 2017 great year, 2 slams. 2018 injured. 2019 2 slams, and again. Because I think after he has a great year, he's physically run down and his body breaks down the next year. But after 1 or 2 rested years, like he had in 2015, 2016, he's coming back and having a great year. And then I just see, like, especially this will happen. The age. It's not like Federer. You spend 2 years out of the game. It's hard to get your match fitness from zero at this age because he hasn't been out. He played the whole clay court season in 2021, even if he was injured. But that was up until sort of 6 months before he's coming back next year. He had that match fitness of playing sort of 5 tournaments in 2 months, Grand Slams, long match against Djokovic. So he was in a physical grind of the clay court season 6 months before coming back. So, and again, he's younger than Federer, but I think he's going to get it back. Um, and I think, like every time that he's come back and he's had a lot of time off, he's had a great year next year. And even though it may be a bit more harder this time, he's had sort of 2 years without playing much. But at the same time, it's not 2 years of not playing at all, where you've not been out of the game. You've got to build the match fitness to zero. No, he's been playing a bit on and off, but it's just a few tournaments in 2 years. But for now, it's sort of 6 months off after sort of that clay season. So I just think for Nadal, it is a bit harder, but he's going to be a bit more fresh, and that's one thing for him. And then it's not like he's had a year or 2 years consecutive. So then he's just getting back from 6 months out of the game, but it's 2 years of not playing much. So that's going to make him fresh. That's going to help him with his age. That's what I see. And then the fact that it's been 2 years where he's rested his body a lot, that's going to help him more with the age. Like maybe when he's younger, 1 year helped him. I think the two will really help him. And I think he'll be fresh and better forever for at least the time being. I see him sort of a 90% chance of winning the French Open in 2022. I don't think Djokovic has a chance against him there if Nadal's healthy. Again, if a foot problem comes up or a knee, or he can't beat his best, those long physical rallies and all the movement and all of that, yeah, it's going to be a problem against Djokovic again. But if he doesn't have that, if he's healthy, you saw the last time they played when he's healthy, 2020 French Open. So, and I just saw sort of 2019 French Open. If you look back to that, Nadal beat Thiem in the final, but Thiem beat Djokovic. So I really felt like on clay, Nadal was number one, Thiem two, Djokovic three. But in 2020, the number third guy got to the final to play the number one guy on clay, Nadal, mostly because Thiem was exhausted from winning the US Open in 2020. So Thiem was out in the quarterfinals against Schwartzman. So that gave Djokovic the chance for the third best guy on clay to be the second best and play Nadal now. But then it looked like he didn't belong there. Because if Thiem was there, he would have beat Djokovic, but because he's not, it's the third guy playing the first guy. Djokovic not looking like he belonged, and Nadal sort of killing him there. But then again, this year, what we saw is Thiem out in the first round, Nadal injured, and now the third best guy on clay could win the French Open. That's what I saw. So I really think Thiem's the second guy, Nadal's first, Djokovic is third. Of course, Djokovic could get really lucky again, where Thiem is injured or out in the first round, Nadal is injured, and then he's the third guy behind those two, so he should capitalize. But I don't see that happening, and I see Nadal as favorite, Thiem's second favorite, and then Djokovic third favorite. I think even if Thiem can sort of close the gap on Nadal, I mean, in Grand Slam finals, he gets nervous, he feels the pressure, and even if he could make it even and take Nadal to a fifth set on clay at Roland Garros would be hard. But I just think that, like, if it came down to that and he's reached Nadal's level and it came down to a fifth set of a Grand Slam final under pressure, Thiem always sort of falls apart in that situation. And Nadal, with his history and confidence at the French Open, he'd be his best. So even if Thiem could close the gap, Nadal would still win. And then, like I'm saying, Djokovic is a bit behind Thiem. So if he gets against a healthy Nadal, you saw in 2020, he looks like he doesn't belong there. That day maybe was more of a bad day. He may be able to get a set if he played like he did this year at the French Open, but still, I see Nadal sort of 90% chance there, and 5% is if Thiem just plays the matches of his life and Nadal's slightly off. The other 5% is Nadal being injured, really. But yeah, I see that. I see it hard for him to win at Wimbledon or the US Open, but if a good draw, if he's playing his best, an opportunity's there, but an outside chance. At the US Open, I see him as about a sort of 45, 50, I'd say a 50% chance. I mean, it's a slower hard court, gives him more time, higher bouncing, good for the top spin. So I see him sort of a grand slam and a half, depending on the US Open. Could go either way. I think next after 2022, that'll be Nadal's last chance to get more than one Grand Slam. But I think into 2023 and 2024, he could just pick up one Grand Slam a year, the French. I mean, and then after that, I don't think he could play the full year after 2024. But what you might see him doing until he's about 40, 41, just playing 2 months a year for the clay court season, saying physically, I don't have it to do the whole 10, 11-month calendar grind. And why do it when I'm not got a chance at this stage of my career on grass and hard court? But if my level in clay is so high and the gap that you're going to need to close to beat me on clay is so big because I've dominated, now the gap's closed, but now I'm not dominating it, but I may be an equal favorite to win it. Why not just take 10 months a year off, rest your game, be in semi-retirement, but focus on that one Grand Slam you have a chance. And even though they say you can't be out of the game most of the time and just win a Grand Slam, well, he's not doing that either because he's rusty, but he's coming back playing the whole clay court season, Monte Carlo, Barcelona, Madrid, Rome, first week of the French Open, clicking second week. So he can rest his body most of the year and he can get his match fitness back at the clay court season to peak at Roland Garros. So if he could do that, I think even sort of 2025, 2026, he'll have about a 40, 50% chance of the French Open there. But not if he plays the whole year. Physically, he wouldn't be able to do it. If he's doing that, I recommend he plays all the Grand Slams until the end of 2024. But yeah, I think 2022 will be his last chance where he has a chance to get multiple Grand Slams and huge favorite at the French Open, 50% chance at the US Open is going to come. He's still in his mid 30s. He's had 2 years where he's not really played much, so he's fresh. He'll be his absolute best and great chance to dominate the French Open. 50% chance at the US Open. Still around a 15, 20% chance at Wimbledon, the US Open, but quite less than the US Open. But I think he's going to come back, have a great year, I'll say. Probably French Open and probably US Open. And then after that, getting the French Open at least another 2 years. But yeah, I'm saying this break is going to extend his career. He's going to be fresh. He's going to come back better than ever. It's going to help him extend his career. And for the very first year out of the break, it's going to be the best year. And then the age is going to kick in. But I still think he's so much better than everyone at the French Open. Even if he declines and others get better, it's going to take a number of years to close the gap at the French Open. But off this long break, him being fresh, he has a chance in 2022 to grab 2 slams. I think a lot of people are going to say about Nadal, like in 2015, 2016, he's in his early 30s, it's over, right? I don't think he'll be able to have 2 more years with 2 Grand Slams, like 2017, 2019, but I'm saying 1 more year of that and then grabbing the French Open a couple more years after that. But he's going to come back better than a lot of people expect. And yeah, so I'm saying at least another 2 Grand Slams and then the following years 1 each, so another 2. So I think he's got a great chance of getting another 4 slams and then still an outside chance if he only plays 2 months a year of clay after that and just getting French Opens until he's maybe 40. But I'm not going to predict beyond that. I'm going to say up until 2024. That's what I see. And in 2022, I see 2 slams for him. I see a good year, but the last year he'll win more than 1 slam in his career. So that's my video for today. That's what I see about Nadal's future and comeback. Not going to predict the Grand Slam race of that because that's dependent on other players. I've got Nadal finishing at 24 Grand Slams on this, with a possibility of an outside chance for a couple more. But yeah, 24 is what I see, and then 2 coming up this year. But yeah, that's the video for today. Subscribe, bell notification, thumbs up. Be back here for my next video in about 4 or 5 days. I'm going to preview Indian Wells, so be back here for that. I'm trying to do an interview with Roger Federer, and also I've had some talks with Nadal and Djokovic too. So we're going to just see about all of that. I can't guarantee it, but I'm trying. But I'll definitely be back in around 4 or 5 days. Around then, I'm going to preview Indian Wells for you. So be back here for that. Subscribe, bell notification, thumbs up. Have a great day, night, wherever you are in the world. And be back here for my next video. And subscribe. Bye, guys. Thanks for being with me. Be back here for my next video. Subscribe. Bye for now. Bye, guys.